We really need to work in synergy with our peers in other ministries, right, to implement climate action in tourism. And sometimes maybe thinking about climate action in tourism is somehow daunting, but if let's say we take a step to look at the policies we have, in many cases, we can combine them in a way that they are really either addressing mitigation or addressing adaptation or combining both. Interesting or important to retain that the next round of NDCs is due 2025. So all of your countries are thinking, what is going to be my next NDC right now, as we speak? It's a golden opportunity for us to start really positioning tourism well. Perhaps in some countries, tourism is already prominent in the NDC, but in many, is not. It's just mentioned briefly as a vulnerable sector. Let's change that. Let's use this opportunity. We have time before 2025 to really pass on a strong message inside our government so that tourism is receiving the positioning it deserves. Then the second one is on the development of a plan. As Susanne very well explained, signing Glasgow Declaration does not mean that you need to come up with a new policy the next morning. This is unrealistic. The idea is that you would be able to, as Susanne framed it very nicely, mindful of your policy cycles, see what you can do to start already creating a timeline, a roadmap that helps you ensure that in the next policy review, certain elements would be encompassed in the tourism policy so that it's becoming progressively stronger on climate action. And then on the different actions on measurement, on decarbonization, on regeneration, you have to operate within your context. Each destination is different, but let's start by looking at what we already have, because many stakeholders are already taking action. Whether it is a business, whether it is a DMO, there is certainly so many things that are good things happening out there, but maybe we're just not looking at them from a climate action perspective. So it's good to take stock, see what's going on, and then build on that. And also identify, okay, which are the areas where I do really need support? Maybe I couldn't find anybody measuring at all in my country. Okay, then maybe let's prioritize measurement. Maybe I couldn't find anybody focusing on adaptation. So what can I give to my stakeholders to really unlock those areas that have not been addressed? But on a progressive approach, right? This is a progressive approach. We need to be improving on a constant basis. And then lastly, thank you again all for sharing all your experiences, because this is also the vocation of Glasgow Declaration, right? To become a platform where you can engage, where you can learn from your peers. Even we have online mechanism to place, as Susanne said, the climate action plans, but also we have a repository of tools. We will be sharing the links with you so that all the information is as available as possible for you to make consultations and keep advancing. Susanne, any comments from you?
Maybe just briefly, because a few points stood out to me, and thank you everyone for your really interesting contributions. One is that in many countries, tourism is a key contributor to the economy, and it was mentioned even maybe seen as the sector that can bring the transformation. And so that almost puts you in a even more sort of challenging situation that tourism has to deliver that. But if we don't decarbonize and if we don't address climate action, we will not be able to do that. So to me, it's even more reason to say, okay, we need to tackle this because countries expect tourism to continue to be a key element. So that's really, really important. The other one is maybe the integrated approach, and the colleague from the Seychelles made it really clear how carbon reduction, decarbonization, and adaptation and resilience building, how that all has to work together. So it's not just isolated approaches, but it has to be within the broader envelope of sustainable development to be effective. And maybe the third last one is around the finance. And I'm really pleased that we heard a few examples of how tourism can tap into that. And I think that's also where probably there's a lot of interest in sharing some of those experiences in the wider platform and network.
I would like to give the floor again back to our Executive Director, Ms. Zorica Urošević, for her closing remarks. Zorica, please, for yours.
Thank you very much. This has been a very inspiring an hour and a half, and we hope to get more. I just would like as well to make a few comments. I think that I'm going to go backward. On the next steps, I think that we forgot to communicate that on the 5th of December, we will have an official side event at COP28 in Dubai, which is called United for Climate Action on Tourism. We are hoping we will be sharing the link because this is going to be live streamed. So we understand that we don't want to increase carbon emission by traveling, but we will be having the possibility to follow on that side. I think that we are really very well advancing. Thank you to everyone and the countries. I learned a lot today, and I think it's a good day when you learn something new. I think that we need to advance very efficiently in taking opportunity on the NDCs. We have been discussing with Virginia, with some partners from UNFCCC and others, so that we can have capacity building workshops on how to actually be more involved in the NDCs. That is very much required. I said it at the very beginning, the governance of tourism and climate are not always in the same space when it comes at the country level, but even at the local level. So I understand that for Seychelles, maybe it's more easy. I mean, I have been spending 12 years there, so I know that there is a great collaboration between the tourism ministry and the environment ministry and the foreign affairs ministry, because this one is very important. Those communication can come. And I think that what we need as well to look maybe in the coming months is as well maybe to have a session on climate financing for tourism. I think we need to explore and disentangle what is feasible. Clearly, Suzanne, you said it very well. 80% of tourism enterprises are SMEs, and these are the ones that first don't have the knowledge. So capacity building is important, or capacity development and understanding what you need to do. But secondly, they don't have the means to invest. So we will be advancing on some initiatives at UNWTO and with other partners. We are happy to inform you on the progress. So this can come in the first semester. But most importantly, I think as well, we need to have a call where we can eventually have some champions or pioneers in the private sector. Private sector when it comes to big enterprises and multinational companies, but as well maybe some SMEs. So we will be looking at that lens. And last point, which I think is really making sense, if everybody agrees, I will be proposing that on the UNWTO side, we have a committee, which is the Sustainability Committee. And I would like this group of experts to be fully part and integrated in the next sessions of the meeting. And we could be having really one chapter looking at climate and sustainable consumption and production within the committee, so that you can voice the interest and the progress of the work. Thank you very much.